It's official. History has been made in New York City. Democrat Zohran Mamdani, a 34-year-old Democratic Socialist from Queens, has won the New York City mayoral race, defeating former Governor Andrew Cuomo in one of the most stunning political upsets in modern American history. The victory not only reshapes New York's political landscape, but also sends shockwaves through the national political scene. Mamdani, now projected to become the youngest mayor in a century and the first Muslim mayor in New York City's history, is already being hailed as a symbol of generational change, progressive energy, and defiance against establishment politics. But how did this once little-known state assemblyman rise to become the leader of America's largest city? How did a man who began his campaign polling at just 1% go on to defeat a political giant like Cuomo? Tonight, we dive deep into the rise of Zohran Mamdani, the movement, the message, and the moment that changed New York forever. On election night, the atmosphere in Queens was electric. Thousands of supporters filled the streets as the big screens flashed the NBC News projection. Zohran Mamdani had won. The crowd erupted, waving signs and chanting his name as he walked onto the stage. Dressed simply, with a calm smile, he began his victory speech with the words, "In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light." Those words echoed across the venue, a promise that his leadership would not just change policy, but reignite hope. Mamdani's speech was emotional and powerful. He spoke about a generation of change, urging New Yorkers to stand firm against inequality and authoritarianism. Without naming names, he directly called out former President Donald Trump, who had endorsed Cuomo in the final days of the race. Ironically, Trump's endorsement may have sealed Mamdani's victory. Exit polls later showed many Republicans stuck with Cuomo, while progressives and younger voters turned out in historic numbers for Mamdani. When the dust settled, Mamdani had won by 9 points, a margin no one predicted. Curtis Sliva, the Republican candidate, finished a distant third. Cuomo conceded, telling supporters this campaign was the right fight to wage. But for Mamdani's movement, this wasn't just a victory, it was vindication. Beyond the politics, Mamdani's win carries deep cultural and emotional weight. As the first Muslim mayor in New York City history, his victory resonated far beyond the 5 boroughs. Throughout his campaign, he faced Islamophobic and racist attacks from opponents and online critics. Yet he never allowed those moments to define him. Instead, he turned them into strength. At one emotional rally before Election Day, Mamdani said, "They've tried to make this election about my faith, but my faith teaches compassion, justice, and service, the same values this city needs most." That statement struck a chord with supporters across communities. Standing beside figures like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, Mamdani made it clear that his campaign was about inclusion, dignity, and equality. His pro-Palestinian activism became one of the most polarizing issues of the race. Critics accused him of being too extreme, while supporters praised his moral clarity and courage. In a time of heightened tension worldwide, Mamdani's unapologetic stance inspired younger voters who saw in him a leader unafraid to take difficult positions. For many Muslim, immigrant, and marginalized New Yorkers, his victory was deeply personal, proof that representation, after decades of struggle, was finally real. Still, challenges lie ahead. Mamdani inherits a city with significant economic and social problems: rising rents, homelessness, strained infrastructure, and a police system in need of reform. He faces a city council that may resist his most ambitious ideas and a state government in Albany, New York, that's often reluctant to embrace progressive policy. But Mamdani insists that change doesn't happen overnight. It begins with courage. His proposed agenda includes freezing rent on rent-stabilized units, introducing universal childcare, offering free public bus service, and launching city-run grocery stores in food deserts. He has also pledged to reevaluate the city's police budget to prioritize community safety initiatives. Critics argue that his ideas are too idealistic and too expensive. Supporters, on the other hand, see them as long overdue. Nationally, Mamdani's reign has already made waves. Democrats view him as one of the next major progressive voices in the country, joining the ranks of Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and Bernie Sanders. Republicans, meanwhile, are wasting no time labeling him as too radical, hoping to use his platform as a cautionary tale in swing states. But analysts say his success has less to do with ideology and more to do with authenticity. According to NBC exit polls, Mamdani won across nearly every major demographic group. He performed well among white, Black, Latino, and Asian voters, but his strongest support came from voters under 45, who favored him by a staggering 43-point margin over Cuomo. Older voters leaned toward Cuomo, but the youth turnout was enough to tip the scales decisively. Education also played a key role, with college-educated and younger professionals flocking to Mamdani's message about affordability, climate justice, and transparency. His campaign proved that social media, grassroots fundraising, and authentic communication can still outmatch corporate money and traditional political machines. His team relied on small donations, online organizing, and community-driven events, a blueprint that could redefine how local campaigns are run nationwide. As the celebration continued late into the night, Mamdani took one final moment to thank his supporters. He said, "If you told us in spring that we'd be here tonight, every single one of us would have signed up for this moment." His voice cracked slightly as he looked out at the crowd, a sea of diverse faces that reflected the city he now leads. "This victory isn't mine," he said. "It belongs to every person who dared to believe that a better city was possible." Fireworks lit up the sky above Queens, and chants of Zohran, Zohran echoed into the night. It wasn't just an election victory, it was a cultural milestone, one that will be studied, debated, and remembered for years to come. Mamdani's victory also reignites an old question in American politics. Is this the beginning of a new progressive wave, or the start of another ideological battle between the left and the establishment? The answer will depend on what happens next. Can Mamdani deliver on his promises? Can he bridge the divide between vision and reality? For now, one thing is clear. New York City, a global symbol of diversity and reinvention, has chosen a leader who represents a new kind of politics. Zohran Mamdani's rise from community organizer to mayor isn't just about policy, it's about possibility. It's about reminding millions that leadership doesn't belong only to the powerful or connected, it belongs to those who believe enough to fight for it. So, what do you think? Is Zohran Mamdani's win the beginning of a new progressive wave, or the start of another ideological battle between the left and the establishment? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown insightful, hit the like button, subscribe for more news and analysis, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. This is America Today, bringing you stories that shape the future. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep watching history unfold.